Hello everyone, my name's Eleanor. I am a Principal Candidate Consultant here at Lawrence Dean Recruitment, and this video is going to take you through some tips and tricks about how to make a really great CV. So before we get started, I just want to kind of think about a quite interesting point about how long a recruiter or somebody hiring will look at a CV before making a really quick decision about whether they think this person will be right for the job and reading on further. Some research has shown that this time frame is only sort of 5 to 7 seconds. And so that's a figure I want to kind of keep in mind as we go through these slides. That first 5 to 7 seconds really has to catch the attention of the person reading your CV to make them read on for longer and find out more about you. So we're just going to bear that in mind as we go through. So to bring the ideas that I'm talking about to life today, we're going to use two fictional candidates who I've made up, and we're going to build their CVs as we go through these slides, just to bring all the ideas to life and so you can see it in practice. So the first candidate I'm going to talk through is Jane. So Jane has 9 years office-based experience. She's educated up to A-level, looking for the next step in her career, and she's mainly focused around sort of administration jobs. And then we've also got Matthew. So Matthew is a recent graduate. He's worked in retail and hospitality. He's looking for that first office-based role, and he's considering sort of customer service and sales roles. So and some of you will relate to these profiles, and these might have similarities that you can kind of use when we're talking about these examples. If not, hopefully just kind of the structure and what we're going through will be quite easily transferable to your situation. So, okay, first of all, when you're first starting to write your CV, this might sound really obvious, but it's something that people miss out an awful lot, and that is your personal information. So especially if you've loaded like a cover letter or an application form with a CV, sometimes people will think, well, that personal information is there, I don't need to put it on the CV. You absolutely do. Please make sure it's always on your CV. Location might not be your full address, but it could just be the town you're located in. Think back to that sort of 5 to 7 seconds. You want to make it really easy for somebody to contact you if they want to contact you about a job. And you also want to make it really easy for them to know that you are local to the job that you're applying for. So make sure that that personal information is all really clear at the top of your CV. So the first main section after that personal information is your personal profile. So this doesn't have to be long, just a short paragraph summarizing what you've done, what you want to do next, and highlighting some key skills that you have. It's really setting the scene. So if you think of your CV as the story of you and your career, this profile is the introduction to set the scene for that story. So you can use it to explain any gaps that you might have in your CV. You can explain if you are wanting to make a bit of a career change, use your personal profile to cover that briefly. But think about those 5 to 7 seconds again and think about how you can summarize all that quite succinctly and grab the attention of the person who's reading your CV. So let's think back to Jane and Matthew and look at some examples that we've written for them. So we can see very clearly at the top of their CV, we know Jane, she's in Welwyn Garden. We've got her email address and her phone number. So if we like the look of her CV, we can contact her nice and easily. And we can just see here in her profile, it's a short paragraph and it goes through that she's an experienced administrator, customer service professional. She's got work in the construction industry. She's been working in a family-run business and she's ready for a new challenge now. She wants to join a friendly and ambitious team. She wants to develop long term. She's then talking about some Microsoft Office skills that she's had and systems she's used. And she's also talked about her kind of attitude and more soft skills within roles, and as well as the fact that she's trained new joiners and dealt with some process improvements. So from that first sort of couple of seconds where we've read that personal profile of Jane, we already know a lot about her, what she's done and what she wants to do next. Similarly with Matthew, so we can see straight away that he is a psychology graduate. He's worked fast-paced, customer-focused environments. He's then goes to talk on a little bit about what his degree has taught him in terms of transferable skills, working to deadlines, accuracy, etc. Microsoft Office again. And then he goes on to talk a little bit more about his work experience within the retail and hospitality industries and what's that done for him. It's developed his customer service skills. He's dealt with complaints and upselling, payment processing, and now he's talking about what he wants to do next. I want to start my career in a role where I can develop that on those skills. So again, very, very quickly, Matthew has set the scene for us in terms of what his situation is at the moment and what he's looking for in his next role. So I hope you can see there how effective a well-written personal profile can be in terms of catching somebody's attention. If I was, for example, recruiting for an entry-level phone-based customer service role, Matthew's personal profile would really catch my eye and kind of tick all those boxes. So moving on from the personal profile now, the next section of your CV is going to be your key skills. So we want to use bullet points when it comes to this because it just makes it much easier for the reader to scan through and take in the relevant information quickly. So bullet points is something that you would use a lot through your CV really for that reason. So when you're thinking about your key skills, keep it really relevant to the job that you want. So this is a very easy part of your CV to switch and change when you're applying for different jobs. You can keep the main bulk of your CV the same and then just edit up the key skill section depending on what job you're applying to. So use the job description, have the job description in front of you and read through the skills that they're asking for. And if you possess them, you need to make sure that they're in the key skill section of your CV really clearly as well. Also, think about software that you've used. So if they're asking for particular software, you want to get that in there and make sure that that's really obvious. And then you can also use this section to talk about transferable soft skills that you've got, especially if you're making that change. So if you're making a change out from retail, for example, you might want to talk about certain soft skills that you picked up there that are going to be useful for you in the jobs that you're applying for. So a really important part of your CV and something that you can change and keep really up to date and relevant. So let's again go back to our example candidates. So Matthew, first of all, has highlighted. No, sorry. If we look at Jane, she's spoken about Salesforce and Salesforce. She's spoken about computer programs that she's used and what she's used them for. Again, highlighted the fact that she's very comfortable with the Microsoft Office suite. And then she's spoken about softer skills there as well. And then what Matthew has done is he's highlighted the skills that he's picked up in his retail jobs. What is going to be needed in the roles that he's applying for. So when he's applying for that first office-based role, he's talking about the fact that he's numerate, he's got a confident phone manner, he's done complaint handling, he's worked to targets. So those bullet points is just kind of really hammering at home to the person reading the CV that he has those skills and he's telling you about them. So employment history. So this is obviously a large part of the CV. The order may differ here, I should point out. So, for example, Matthew has just finished his education, so he's a recent graduate. Jane has been working in industry for a few years. So for Jane, if you are out of education and you have some work experience behind you, you want to put your employment history first. So that's how we'll talk about that now. You want to always write this most recent chronological order following from there. We do see quite a lot of CVs where it's flipped around the other way and people start with the oldest job first and work down through there. What that means is you're pushing your most recent experience and probably your most relevant experience down to the bottom of the first page or even the second page in some cases. Again, you need to think about those 5 to 7 seconds we spoke about. As a person scans their eyes down your CV and they've read your profile, that all sounds great. They've read your key skills. they want to know what you're doing right now or what you have done most recently first. That is what they're interested in. So always start with your most recent role first. And then we want clear dates, a month and a year. Keep that really obvious. So we're eliminating any room for guesswork. Just having the year there could leave it really open for interpretation of how long you're actually in a job. So month and year, and really consistent formatting through that as well. We want to use our bullet points again when we're talking through our employment history, because again, that means that it's very easy to read. An employer can digest all the major points that you want to get across to them really quickly and easily. As we read CVs, we do make decisions quickly, and we want to kind of digest information very easily. People won't sit and read through kind of paragraph after paragraph of detailed explanation of one particular role. They want to kind of digest that information in bullet points. So we'd really recommend that that's how you format your employment history when talking about a job. I would say that, also it's important to note that this part of your CV, or all of your CV, is not only a way of getting across what you've done in your employment, but it's also a way of showing off your writing skills and your PC skills. So that sort of consistent formatting, correct grammar, correct spelling is vital, and it's something you really need to kind of make sure you're proofreading, getting somebody else to double check for you. Because that's really important too. And keep it recent. So by that, I mean that, no CV really should be longer than 2 pages. We do, and if it's going much longer than that, because you've got lots of employment history, either you need to make those bullet points much shorter for the roles that are further back, or just delete them off altogether. Old roles aren't really necessary on a CV. You want the last few years on there. And as you add a new role on, the old roles get deleted off. So no more than 2 pages in total, and your employment history kind of detailed nicely with bullet points and consistent formatting. So we will have a look at our examples again then, just to bring that to life a bit. So this is Jane's employment history part of her CV. So she has 11 years of experience, and it's less than an A4 page. Because she has, you can see she's got consistent formatting of the company, the job title, and the dates. She then has a brief sentence that introduces us to the company, sets the scene for what the company was, and then she's got bullet points detailing her duties there and any main skills she picked up. You can probably see there down at the bottom, we've got Sainsbury's, where she was a customer service assistant, and then she's since then worked in office-based roles. I would suggest to Jane that after she gets her next role, that's when Sainsbury's would probably come off. That's how we'd kind of keep the CV kind of fresh and relevant as we go along. But yeah, she's introduced it nicely there in terms of what each business does, the industry that's in, and then kind of nice bullet pointed duties. And that's how we get CVs down to no more than 2 pages, because as I said, we've got lots of years of experience there, nice and brief. This is Matthew's employment history, so his is slightly different. As we said, he's just got the retail and hospitality experience to talk through, but what he's really focusing on there is highlighting transferable skills. So again, he's focusing in on the fact that, so he's worked at Wetherspoons, serving customers, taking food orders, but then he's gone in to talk about handling complaints in person and over the phone. That's really important if he's going for a phone-based job. Diary management, taking inbound calls, working to targets. So again, this is all stuff that will be on a job description and, be on the requirements list of those sorts of entry-level phone-based roles. And so he's talking about that in his previous experience. Okay. So then the next section, education. So as I said, we would rearrange this depending on your experience level. I would suggest that Matthew would have this first. Oh, sorry. Gone on too far there. So again, clear dates, month and year. I would say when it comes to education, this can be optional in terms of month and year, because as we move away from education in our career and we get some work experience behind us, month and year can obviously age you when it comes. You can give your age away, and you don't need to, nor should you have to put your date of birth on your CV, and you may not want to disclose your age. That's fine. I would say if your education is very recent, such as in Matthew's case, it is quite important to put the months and years on there, because you're just thinking about, again, telling your story, making it very clear, not leaving room for guesswork. So that's kind of open to interpretation. But whatever you do, keep the consistent formatting going. And especially if you're fresh out of education, use this part of your CV again to talk about transferable skills, software you used in your education, and use this part as well to talk about what you can bring to your next role. So let's have a look at our two examples. So Jane, her education, she has got her dates on there, so it was a little while ago, and she's detailed her A-levels, her A-level grades, and her GCSEs. But because she's got her A-levels, she's just kind of summarised her GCSEs nice and simply into one short sentence. Matthew's, because Matthew's is more recent, he's put more detail into that. So he's got his degree there, so he's gone into some detail there about what his degree covered, what sort of systems he used there, and then kind of A-levels from there. So it's nice, succinct part of the CV. Again, it's not going to take up loads and loads of page space, but just enough detail has been gone into. And the next section of your CV that you want to get in there is some hobbies and interests. So this is just a chance to show off a little bit of personality, so they can get to know you a little bit more. If you're new out of education, it might be a chance to talk about some extracurricular activities that you've been doing. It just gives a bit more colour and flavour to your CV and brings it to life a little bit more. It might be something that if you're successful to get to interview stage, this is sometimes a part of the CV that people, that interviewers will refer back to kind of break the ice and have something to chat about. Maybe if you've spoken about being, season ticket holder to a particular football team, or you're into a particular hobby. If there's some common ground there, they might have a chat with you about that. So it just brings a bit of personality to the situation. So we can see here Jane's hobbies and interests. So she's just spoken about some hobbies that she's got. She's mentioned that she's learning a new language, and it lets us get to know Jane a little bit more as a person. Matthew, he has split his down into extracurricular experience and then his interests. So again, he's really taken the opportunity to talk about the fact that while he was at university, he took some, he was a very active member of his rugby team. So what did that involve? It was diary management, it was booking referees, it was promoting on social media, it was dealing with financial administration. So this is all really great stuff that he did at university that we need to know about. So he's used that part of the CV to do that. And then he's given us some interests as well in the fact that he likes sport and going out with his friends. So just again a little bit of personality there. Okay, so final thoughts to think about when you are looking at your CV. Try and keep it to 2 pages. It should be no longer than that. Be clear and concise. Don't leave any room for guesswork. When people are looking at the CV, remember they are taking a very short amount of time to make a decision. So if they have to start guessing and making assumptions, they might get those wrong. So be really, really clear about when you did what you did. Simple and consistent formatting. Remember, this is a chance to show off your computer skills, your written communication skills. So proofread and proofread again. And take time to tailor for specific roles, especially making use of those key skills section, the personal profile section. Look at the job description and make sure, if I've done that skill, is it clear on my CV? Also think about the file type. So this is something that will often get overlooked, but especially now with a lot of kind of software coming into play when the recruiters are using, have a look on the advert. It may say that they need to receive your CV in a specific file type, so make sure you're following that. Generally, I would say Word documents you can't really go wrong with Word documents. Sometimes a lot of systems don't like PDF formats or particular PDF formats. So I would worry less about kind of the prettiness of a certain PDF, and keep it simple with a Word document. That's always going to get through certain systems, and you just kind of know you're on safe ground there. Okay, so now I'm just going to kind of show you the CVs we've been building all put together. So this is Jane's. I know it's probably slightly small on the screen there in terms of reading the detail, but you can see hers is, not even 1.5 pages long. It's nice and short, but she's got her lovely personal profile, some key skills, straight into her employment history, and then the last page just covers off her education dates and her hobbies and interests. Likewise with Matthew, again, it's pretty much the exact same length, considering, he's a graduate and she's got 9 years of experience, because he's taken up that extra space by talking about those extracurricular activities and going into more detail about his degree. His employment history actually is quite short. He hasn't taken up too much space with that. So both nice lengths, gone into some nice detail, but not overly so. So I hope that's been helpful to you. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to email me directly, give me a call. I'll put my details up on the screen now. Yes, always very happy to help. I know with CVs, they can be a very personal thing. So I hope that some of the stuff I've gone through today kind of helps you. But if you want to talk more through the specifics of your experience, kind of what to leave in and what to put out, please give me a call or drop me an email. If you aren't registered with us and you've come across this video, but you are looking for work locally in Hertfordshire, please get in touch. Or, maybe if you just want that CV guidance, I'm more than happy to help. So get in touch if you would like. And yes, I hope you found this useful. And thank you very much for watching.